recording. Here is it. So our lesson, guys, will be the Atlantic slave trade, which is the beginning of the enslavement period in history. And I think, as a quick reminder, what we have already discussed the previous lesson. Of course, after they started their colonization process over there in the new discovered land, there was some kind of shortage in labor. So, first of all, of course, the shortage of labor, guys, was because, who can remind me here quickly, why there was a shortage of labor over there?
A lot of slaves died because of the diseases, new
Not the
diseases.
slaves, they didn't start the enslavement yet.
Workers, workers.
Yes, the workers. What about the natives? What happened? First of all, they used to have the Native Americans to work for them for free, of course. But why do you think there was a shortage in labor? Come on, guys, wake up.
Because most
You-
of the natives died because of the new diseases.
Because of the European diseases, exactly. So there was a shortage in labor. Sorry. So first of all, they turned to Europe. They started to bring some Europeans, poor Europeans, to work the land for them. And we're gonna call these poor Europeans, we're gonna call them indentured servants. Yes, exactly. So the Europeans will start to work for a set period of time. In return, the colonists will pay for their transportation fees. So they will go from Europe to the new discovered land free of charge. They will pay nothing. In return, they have to work for them for a set period of time. But the indentured servants were costly. It cost them a lot. So the colonist had to pay for his transportation and also for his accommodation, for his housing, and also for his food supply, and also to take good care of him. I mean, a medical care, so he can work the land for him. Of course, the indentured servants were costly, so they need another alternative. Let me accept. Someone is waiting. So they were costly, so they went to Africa. Not all of the African continent, especially the western coast of Africa, from Senegal to Angola. And they started to bring the slaves from the western coast of Africa. So the European traders will supply the African leaders with, who's gonna help me here? With what do you,
Firearms.
firearms? The gold will be taken from the new discovered land. Of course, they will not give them gold. The Europeans will give the African leaders firearms and European goods. In return, the African leaders will supply them with slaves. And of course, the slaves will go to the new discovered land. And all the raw materials here in the new discovered land will go to Europe. So here is our triangular trade. Our first leg of the triangle, the European traders will supply the African leaders with goods, European goods, and firearms. The second leg, which is important here, the second leg of the triangle, we're gonna call it the middle passage. This is the passage that the slaves were transported to the new discovered land. And of course, all the raw materials in the Americas will go to Europe. Here is the middle passage. Of course, uh, the slaves were not treated as humans. They treated them as property. So they used to capture them. Okay. Even the African leaders, because they need European goods and they need more firearms, they used to make fake wars with the neighboring countries. So during the war, he can simply get more captives from the enemy, from his enemy, and he can sell these captives to the European traders. And also, the European traders were used to make some kind of enslavement trades that he can simply walk around and start to capture whoever he can see. He used to cuff them even with ropes or in chains. Then they will ship them over there to the new land. Once they reached the new discovered land, they were sold in auctions. Of course, the European trader will get a document, a contract that this slave is your own personal property. The males used to work in different crafts like plumbers, carpenters, and so on, while the females will have the domestic work like cooking, cleaning, and mending clothes, and so on. The males will go to work in farms and in mines. That's it. 2 jobs over there, either in farms, in the farming process, or in mining to extract the precious metals. And here is an important point in our lesson: the direction of slaves. The Spanish. Who can remind me, guys, what are the Spanish colonies in the new discovered land? My dear listeners,
Mr. Panama, I think, also Caribbean and Peru.
not Panama. So we can say that the Caribbean,
And
the Caribbean islands, because simply logically talking, because Christopher Columbus first of all landed over there in the Caribbean islands, Hispaniola and Cuba. ماشي؟ يبقى Caribbean islands and not Panama.
Peru,
Peru, exactly, and
Mexico.
Mexico. That's it. So the Spanish colonies over there were in Peru, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands. So the Spanish traders who get the slaves will simply move the slaves to the Caribbean islands. The Portuguese, the one and only
They have only Brazil.
Portuguese colony. Sorry?
They have only Brazil because
Exactly.
they thought the country was small at first.
Exactly, because of the Treaty of Tordesillas.
Yes.
Okay, the one and only Portuguese colony over there in the Americas was Brazil. So the Portuguese will send their slaves to Brazil. The English traders will send their slaves to the West Indies and North America. Okay, keep it in your mind, guys. The Spanish to the Caribbean, the Portuguese to Brazil, the English to the West Indies. Sorry, the English to the West Indies and North America. This is a traditional question. You're gonna see it a lot, guys. Keep it in your mind. Spanish Caribbean, Portuguese Brazil, English West Indies and North America. Now let me ask you a question. Let's imagine that you are a slave. You have been transported through the Middle Passage, the second leg of the triangle, from Africa to the new discovered land. Okay? And of course, after reaching over there, you were sold as a property and you will be moved to your destination, either a farm or a mine. What do you think you're gonna do?
First of all, I will try to escape, of course.
Of course, you will try to escape. Who else? Yes,
Kill
Muhammad
my
Ali.
master. You will So you will work a bit lazy and slowly.
So you will try to slow down your work. Exactly. Yes. Who else?
Kill your own master.
You will try to kill your master. Huh. Who else? Who can tell me something else? That's it. Either to escape, to or to kill your master, to slow down your work. Huh. That's it. No more. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. After reaching over there, by the way, and they gonna face their destiny, that they will be treated not like any human. They will try to resist. And we have 4 examples of their resistance. First of all, they will turn to religion for strength and hope for a better life. And this can be something like surrendering, as trying to find a way to accept the fact that they are slaves. Number 2, some slaves also fought back by slowing down their work, like your friend had just said, slowing down their work, or by destroying equipment. Of course, if the master saw them destroying the equipment, they will be punished. But they can secretly destroy the equipment so the master will not find out what's wrong with this piece of equipment. Occasionally, they revolted, attacking slaveholders and their families if they have the chance. Some slaves, like your friend said, to escape. Some slaves were able to flee plantations and establish communities of runaways in remote areas. So these are the 4 examples, guy, of slave resistance. Keep it in your mind because it's an important issue. 4 examples: turn for religion, to try to slow down your work and destroy the equipment, to revolt, attack your slaveholder, and try to escape, to flee plantations. What's a plantation, by the way? Yes, guys.
لسه دي بلانتنت أو يعني دي فار.
On a large scale, okay? And it's not like a normal farm. You can say that estates where they used to have, we used to farm cash crops. What do I mean by cash crops, by the way?
crops
Cash,
that give you a lot of money يعني
yes, exactly. Like sugar,
like cotton عشان كده.
like
Even in
cotton.
Egypt we used to plant rice, but because of the economy كده, the government started planting cotton because cotton is more expensive, so it can help us in the economy.
Exactly. So cash crops, guys, that it means that it's a crop that can be easily sold for cash. The last point in our lesson will be the African diaspora. Okay? Diaspora, guys, means effect, the effect of the African culture. Of course, we have said in the previous lesson, guys, that the Atlantic slave trade lasted for 200 years, 2 centuries. So, of course, when the people moved from one place to another, they will take all their traditions with them. They will take their way of living together. They will move their customs. So, in order to live their lives over there, they practiced their tradition, their culture. Like you can say, like the folklore, like their way of wearing clothes, like their favorite songs, and so on. So the African culture spread from Africa to Europe and to the Americas. Okay, until now, by the way, over there in the American society, we have some examples of the African diaspora. Do you know it? Can you use your mind a little bit? Try to think about it.
Mr. African diaspora is like the culture of the African people being in America.
Yes. They had a significant effect over there, over the American society.
The I don't know يا مس. The civil rights movement يعني لا something African يعني African in the culture.
It's not related to politics. Okay?
Uh,
Nowadays, if you have a look over the American society, you're gonna see some effects, some consequences, some, we can say the African diaspora in their society. You have a lot of examples. Let me tell you one. Sleepy,
yes.
my dear listeners.
Please, Mr. tell us one because I need to. Can you give us an example of what to say?
Okay, in order to make it easier for you guys. Okay. What about for those who like to listen to music? What about rap,
Jazz.
jazz? What about rap?
Mr. And
First
their
of all,
churches وكده they also sing these hymns and things يعني that they used to sing before.
yes, they used to say that rap, that مثلا after its development, it was became known as the hip hop. But they said that it first of all came from the Africans because this is their way of singing their problems, of telling their problems in order to have some kind of patience upon their living conditions. So the rap in the American society is a significant example of the African diaspora, of the effect of the enslavement movement over the American society. Do you agree or disagree?
لا agree يا مستر.
So can you tell me another example, guys? Or that's it, no more examples, it's only music.
لا هو في أكيد في.
Okay, now I can tell you that it's the end of our lesson. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Raise your hand and ask me. If not,
Mr. I have a question in the exam.
yes, Maham.
هو الماكسيمم مارك كام؟ أصل أنا لما خلصته كتب لي إن أنا جبت 2.94 بس في الشرط اللي تحت دي كتب لي إن أنا جايب 2 فأنا مش عارف أنا